World War II was a war of weapons, but even more, it was a war of logistics. Guns, tanks, and planes all needed food, fuel, and ammunition to keep fighting. Soldiers depended on regular shipments crossing the oceans. The Allies had to move mountains of material from America to Europe and the Pacific. Without these supplies, even the bravest soldiers would have been stranded. War is more than just battles. It's about keeping armies moving. The Liberty ship was the machine that made this possible. When most folks think of World War II, they picture tanks or planes, not the ships that carried everything. Yet, it was these humble cargo ships, the Liberty ships, that kept the fight alive. They brought hope and strength to distant fronts. Their story is one of simple design, mass production, and quiet bravery. In the end, Liberty ships were as important as any weapon for Allied victory. Crossing the oceans in World War II was deadly. Enemy submarines and aircraft hunted ships day and night. The Atlantic was called the graveyard of ships. Despite the dangers, supplies had to move. Liberty ships sailed in huge convoys, braving storms and enemy attacks. They carried vital cargo food, fuel, and ammunition. Without them, the fighting on land would have stopped. Each Liberty ship was a lifeline, keeping armies fed and armed. Their steady arrival meant victory was possible, even when the seas were filled with danger. The success or failure of the Allies depended on these ships. German U-boats were a terrifying threat, sinking hundreds of cargo ships in 1942 alone. Supplies were running out and the situation was desperate. America needed a solution, fast. The answer? Build more ships than the enemy could sink. The United States copied a simple British cargo ship design, the Liberty ship. Factories across America turned to the task. Workers who had never built ships before learned quickly. Shipyards worked day and night. The goal was clear: outbuild the submarines. By building ships faster than they could be sunk, the Allies turned the tide. Liberty ships became a symbol of hope and teamwork. Determination and mass production beat the U-boat threat. Liberty ships were not fancy. They were designed for speed and numbers. Every part was made to be simple. Prefabrication was key sections were built separately, then welded together. This method was new for shipbuilding. Before, ships were built slowly, piece by piece. Now, parts could be made in different places and brought together like a giant puzzle. This saved time and allowed thousands to be built quickly. Workers included men and women from all walks of life, many new to shipyards. Training was short and the work was hard, but everyone knew the job was important. In just a few weeks, a new ship could go from blueprints to launch. This was mass production at its finest. Speed mattered more than polish. The goal was to flood the ocean with ships. The Liberty ships were made by the hands of the American people. The Liberty ship's design was all about doing the job simply and cheaply. Speed of construction mattered most. The ships were easy to build, repair, and operate. One big change was the use of welded seams instead of rivets. Welding was faster and needed less labor, but it had risks. In cold water, some ships developed cracks in the hull, a serious flaw. Engineers worked to fix the problem, improving welding skills and changing the steel. Still, the issue never completely went away, but cracks were rare. Despite flaws, the design worked. Liberty ships were strong for their size and easy to repair. They proved that simple solutions can be powerful, even in times of crisis. Their practicality outweighed their imperfections. The Liberty ship's strength was in its simplicity. Liberty ships were about 441 feet long and 57 feet wide. They weren't fast. Top speed was just 11 knots. But speed wasn't the goal. Carrying lots of cargo was. Each ship could hold over 10,000 tons of supplies. That's enough for hundreds of tanks or thousands of tons of food and fuel. The ships had 5 cargo holds and a simple boxy shape. This made them easy to load and unload. They could carry almost anything: jeeps, bombs, trucks, or even tanks on deck. Their numbers made up for any lack of speed or style. They were the backbone of the Allied supply chain. The Liberty ship's layout was basic but effective. The The cargo holds were below deck, spread out for balance. Large hatches and cranes made loading and unloading quick. The bridge was at the center, above the engine room, giving officers a clear view. Crew quarters were simple and cramped, but warm in cold weather. Every space was used wisely. Room for lifeboats, guns, and supplies. The engine room was protected by surrounding cargo holds. The design put practicality above comfort. Everything had a purpose. Life was tough, but the ship was efficient. Practicality kept the Liberty ships moving. Liberty ships were not helpless. Each ship had a small arsenal, guns at the stern and anti-aircraft cannons. Volunteer sailors called the Naval Armed Guard manned the weapons. But a single ship was easy prey, so they sailed in convoys. Navy escorts, destroyers and corvettes, protected the group. This made it harder for submarines to pick them off. Escorts hunted submarines with sonar and depth charges. Planes flew overhead, searching for enemy periscopes. Teamwork kept the ship safe, but danger was always near. Crews stayed alert day and night, ready to fight or run. Their courage kept the supplies moving. Living on a Liberty ship was tough. The crew was small, usually 40 to 50 men. Quarters were cramped, bunks stacked close, and space was tight. Meals were simple, and food had to last for weeks. Fresh water was limited, so every drop counted. The ship rocked in storms, making sleep hard. In winter, the cold bit through steel walls. Work never stopped. Watch shifts ran day and night. Every man had a job, from steering to fixing engines or standing guard. In battle, all hands went to stations, and practice drills were common. Despite hardships, crews formed strong bonds. They shared stories, laughter, and fears. Teamwork turned a simple ship into a home, and a weapon for victory. The heart of the Liberty ship was its cargo. Every voyage brought a new load and a new mission. Some ships carried tanks, trucks, and jeeps, others crates of food, barrels of oil, or ammunition. Cargo was loaded using cranes and winches, packed tight inside. Special holds kept valuable cargo safe from water and damage. Unloading was a race against time at busy ports. Supplies went straight to the front lines. Every delay could mean trouble for the soldiers relying on them. Without Liberty ships, the Allies could not have moved their armies. They carried the tools of victory, one voyage at a time. At the core of each Liberty ship was a steam engine. These engines burned oil in boilers to make steam, turning a single, large propeller. The technology was old, but simple and reliable. Engineers and firemen kept the boilers running day and night. The engine room was hot and noisy. Steam pipes hissed, and gauges needed constant watching. The engine was easy to fix, even with limited parts. Liberty ships could keep going, even after minor damage. They were built to last the roughest journeys. Steering a Liberty ship was straightforward. A large wheel on the bridge controlled the rudder, with strong, simple gear. There were backup systems in case of emergency. Simple controls made training easy, so new sailors could learn fast. In battle, clear orders and fast action were possible. Fancy gadgets could break, but simple systems could be fixed quickly. Liberty ships were the right tool for a hard job. Liberty ships changed the war. Over 2,700 were built, more than any other ship type in history. Their numbers overwhelmed the enemy. The Allies could replace lost ships faster than the Axis could sink them. Factories and shipyards became as important as battlefields. Many ships served after the war, carrying cargo for decades. The design lived on, shaping how ships were made for years to come. Liberty ships proved that simple ideas and teamwork can change history. The Liberty ship was more than steel and steam. It was a symbol of hope and hard work. These ships showed that victory doesn't always come from the biggest gun or fastest plane. Sometimes it comes from doing the basics well and never giving up. By crossing dangerous seas again and again, Liberty ships helped the Allies win World War II. Their legacy lives on. The lesson is clear. Simple, strong ideas, built with care and courage, can overcome the hardest challenges. In the end, It was simple strength that carried the day.